Welcome back to our series. This is installment 5 of 8 of our strengths development for individuals and teams. For today's topic, I wanted to focus on something that becomes a little bit distracting when we do strengths-based development. So if you purchase your assessment and you have all 34 talents, what I often find when I work with clients is that when you first look at that list of 34 talents, you'll spend a few minutes looking at the 1 through 5 and seeing if that resonates with you. And then your eyes will immediately fall to the 30 through 34. There is this tendency to look at what is in that bottom and feel like it is in some way an indicator of how we are not succeeding. And so I want to encourage you to think about your bottom 34 in a very different way. So when we think about the 34 talents, the truth of those is that every person has the capacity for all 34. What the report really helps you do is separate what are the things that are easy, enjoyable, natural talent. Those are the things that float to the top. The things that are at the bottom, you're capable of doing, but they're going to take a little bit more energy. You're probably going to be a little bit less efficient. You're probably going to enjoy them a little less. And so if we think about our life, none of us really would say we want to be spending time in those kinds of activities and in those kinds of thoughts and feelings and behaviors. And so what I will often encourage individuals to do is really to kind of own those things at the bottom and release them. It is really about this effort of saying, these things are not my superpower, but you know what? There's probably someone on my team who is exceedingly good at these things. And so I am going to partner with those people, and I'm going to start to get to know how I can leverage the skill and the talent of those individuals in these ways to help make the whole team better. So part of the teamwork that we often do is exactly that. It is understanding, what does the matrix look like for the entire team? And where do we have maybe some gaps? Not necessarily gaps that we need to fill, but just awareness of what are some talents where we might not excel as a team, and how can we leverage other talents to help fill some of those gaps. And I would encourage you to think of it in a very similar way. I'll use myself as an example. So when I did my assessment, my bottom talent was positivity. And I would not, before that, have said I was particularly not positive. But when I thought about what that particular talent was really saying, it was absolutely accurate. What it meant was, in any given situation, I wasn't immediately going to jump to, it's all going to be fine. We're going to figure this out. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be great. That wasn't how my brain worked. I could get to a positive mindset, but I would get there by thinking, and I would get there by strategy, and I would form a plan that would help me feel like all those other things, right? I would form a plan using my strategy that could help me be positive, but I couldn't just get there instantly on my own. And recognizing that became incredibly releasing, because now I didn't have to try. I didn't have to try to be that person anymore, because I wasn't designed to be that person. It was not what I'm supposed to bring to the table. So learning these 34 can be really powerful, both for what's at the top, but it also can be powerful to give yourself grace for those things at the bottom, and to start to realize, maybe I'm not supposed to be operating in that space all the time. And maybe if I am really struggling in my role and it's requiring those things at the bottom, maybe this is a conversation that I can have with my manager, with my leader, to understand, how do I use more of those things at the top and not have to be spending time at the bottom in those things that are draining for me. So the awareness gives you power, gives you information, it gives you that curiosity about yourself. And I encourage you to look at the whole range, but don't spend too much time at the bottom, because the top is really where all the power is. What Gallup will often say is, you can spend time and energy in your top tier, and you can grow exponentially through those top talents. If you took that same energy and you apply it to those bottom talents, you may get marginally better, but just marginally. And that's not what any of us really, I think, are striving for in our work and in our life. But getting exponentially better, I'm here for that all day long. So I hope this is helpful, just to give you a little something to think about if you are reviewing your 34 report and have that tendency to look down there at the bottom. I hope you're finding this helpful. Please feel free to share it with anyone who you feel like would benefit from having a little bit of awareness about these talents and how they can impact both their own development and their team's development. We'll see you next week.